Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong. Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong. Well, it's toot-toot to my head, it's toot-toot to my feet, it's toot-toot to carry me, Lord, whenever I die. Well, it's toot-toot to my head, it's toot-toot to my feet, it's toot-toot to carry me, Lord, whenever I die. My little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, Lord, I'm bound for Calvary. My little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, Lord, I'm bound for Calvary. Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong. Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong. When it's toot-toot to my head, it's toot-toot to my feet, it's toot-toot to carry me, Lord, whenever I die. When it's toot-toot to my head, it's toot-toot to my feet, it's toot-toot to carry me, Lord, whenever I die. My little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, Lord, I'm bound for Calvary. My little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, my little soul's gonna shine like a star, Lord, I'm bound for Calvary. Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong. Go and dig my grave, both long and narrow. Make my coffin neat and strong.
How can one smile such sweet smiles when one is so saddened by sorrows for miles? How can I smile the same smiles when life brings me nothing but tears? I wondered for so long what reason you had to smile that long, to keep smiling through troubles though troubles come, and still remain sweet and silently overcome. It's such a mystery to me, your smiles from heaven with glee. I adore and yet envy thee, but I'd rather you smile those at me. I feel happy when I see you smile, even if I'm sad and lonely. Your smiles bring me somewhere I don't even know where. Smile for the sake of a smile. Smile for the sake of happiness. Smile for the sake of life. Smile because of hope left in life. Smile, my friends. Smile for me, my love. Smile those same sweet smiles. Smile so the world can be a peaceful dove. Lendl Ian Servion. That was sent to me by Cheng, our friend Cheng, who was on the show a couple of months ago. At the top of the show, you heard the father of my godson, Moses Tannenbaum, Chaim Tannenbaum, fronting the McGarrigle Sisters, singing Dig My Grave. You are listening to the final edition of the Maple Leaf Mailbag from Radio Canada International in Montreal. My name is Terry Haig. I'm sitting in for Ian Jones. Thierry Boutin is with me. We'll be with you for the next hour or so, reading your letters. This will be simply a low-key show. I'm going to go easy on the music because I still have such wonderful letters from all of you. The insight that you provide is palpable and stunning. And I know Ian Jones, the regular host of this show, would feel the same way. And by the way, one of the senators in our Senate. There's a story in the Ottawa Citizen yesterday that starts, unless the CBC rethinks its quote-unquote utterly reprehensible decision to eliminate Radio Canada International shortwave service, its senior managers will be called to explain the decision to a special Senate inquiry, Conservative Senator Hugh Segal said Thursday. Quote, "This is probably the most destructive way the board of the CBC could find to manage the financial economies they have to face," said Segal. It's going to take the Canadian message out of the international marketplace. Segal, a member of the Senate's Foreign Affairs Committee and chair of its Special Committee on Anti-Terrorism, says the busting down of RCI to an internet radio station will block RCI from millions of people living under repressive regimes. Don't forget, folks, it will not be a radio station. It's a website. Quote, "In those parts of the world where the internet is blocked, such as the People's Republic of China, Iran, and North Korea, there is no way for RCI's messages of freedom and opportunity to get there," he told the Senate. Quote, "I blame the board of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and its senior management who cut far away from home rather than cutting here because it was more convenient for them to do so," unquote. CBC is slashing 80% of Radio Canada International's budget, cutting dozens of full and part-time jobs, eliminating much original programming, and confining the 67-year-old Voice of Canada broadcast to a website. It won't be a broadcast, I repeat. In many developing nations, access to the internet is either limited or non-existent, with millions of people relying solely on radio for national and international news and information. Along with the $10 million cut to RCI's budget from $12.3 million to $2.3 million, the CBC is also ending shortwave transmissions from its major relay stations at Sackville, New Brunswick on June 26th. CBC has defended the cuts to RCI as necessary because the federal government has slashed its budget by 10% over the next 3 years to about $115 million. Because the CBC has no public shareholders meetings, said Segal, it falls to Parliament to hold the publicly funded broadcaster accountable. Quote, "We in the Senate have the right to discuss and debate and have called before our committees public institutions that make decisions that are not in the public interest," he told the Citizen. "Someone has to be held accountable." Any Senate inquiry into RCI would likely be at the Foreign Affairs Committee in the fall, he added. But who knows, quote, "In the time between now and then, the CBC board might be giving some thought to the decision they made." You can read that on the RCI Action Committee website. You can also see the pictures of the rally that we staged on Wednesday. You go to RCI Action Committee, and then you get that, and then hit the blog. You hit the blog button, and then the pictures are there. So, without further ado, I think it's fitting. I mean, Hugh Segal, I'm very good friends with his little brother. Hugh Segal sounds like you guys. He sounds like all of you that have written. I mean, what's stunning to me is the intelligence and insight contained in all these letters that I've been reading for the past, 8 weeks now. And finally, somebody in Ottawa. Now, keep in mind, this guy's a red Tory, okay? He's a progressive conservative, which no longer exists. He was appointed by the Liberal Prime Minister, Paul Martin. So how much clout he has, I don't know, but he's a pretty serious guy. In fact, he used to be head of the Progressive Conservative Party, as I recollect. So if he's going to investigate this and call these people like Hubert Lacroix, who made these decisions before him, we'll have to see what happens. Now, as all of you know, once something's torn down, it's trying to get toothpaste back into the tube. You know, it's not easy. But we'll see. But that's not till the fall. So as of now, as of tomorrow, today is Sunday, June 24th, we're gonzo. We're gonzo. You can catch the website. We have no idea what that's going to amount to, but there will be no more broadcasts. And I think there's no better person to start today with than a letter from Nick Sharp, he's in Staines, Great Britain. He has really fought a battle. He wrote all the ministers. He really was on the case. So here's his letter. Dear Terry and Bill, that's Bill the Bear. I am listening to almost the last ever show of the Maple Leaf Mailbag today, and it's very upsetting and disappointing that events have got this far. I really do not understand what the CBC and James Moore, he's our heritage minister, of Canada's government is trying to prove by killing off Canada's voice to the world. I am amazed that there are no funds available to keep RCI alive and kicking when there is so much trouble in the world out there. They have denied those people in the less developed parts of the world a hearing the truth and freedom of speech. Perhaps this is the hidden agenda of the Canadian government, to kill off all democracy as we know it today by silencing Radio Canada International. I am not the least surprised by the number of letters you have been receiving, but let's hope and pray that common sense will prevail in the end, as otherwise a terrible mistake would have been made. I have been following events on the internet and on the Facebook page of the Radio Canada International Action Committee group, but it seems that James Moore has an answer for every question which is put to him, like changing the CBC character to stop the commitment to international broadcasting. If it is possible, can you give me some names behind the faces on the following website photo? I could see Terry and Mark, I believe. Has Ian Jones been able to make it back to the station at all since his operation? As I said before, you hit the blog. You go to RCI Action Committee, hit the blog button, and the photos are all there, and I believe they're captioned. No, Jones hasn't made it back. He is not due back at work until July 1st, but there won't be any work for him, I don't think. We'll see. But as far as I know, he's doing fine. He's out on the West Coast in his own stomping grounds. More letters. On Friday, this arrived from Sackville, England. And you guys know who this is. This is Peter Henry Ashcroft. It's a beautiful card. Autumn and Hemmingford Grey. A couple of boats in a bog or a sort of lake or stream with a cathedral in the background. Some bare trees. It's beautiful. Dear Ian, Terry, and team, writes Peter. Sadly, the Maple Leaf Mailbag tree is about to be felled by the heartless power that be. So we listeners will no longer be able to shelter in its shade. I hope you all still find a soft landing elsewhere. From a saddened Peter of Sackville. Thank you, Peter, as always. Another card with the dove of peace on it. And peace written in a rectangle just below the dove's chest. It's from Dave Andrusiak, Regina, Saskatchewan. Andrusiak. Dear RCI staff, I am deeply saddened by the closure of RCI broadcasts on shortwave. As a relatively new listener on shortwave, I thank you very much for your services. I wish you the best for future transitions. Yours truly, Dave Andrusiak. Thank you, Dave, and thanks for the beautiful card. A card from Jack and Sue, Wachtenschauser down in Kelmscott, Australia. It's got a picture of Western Europe. Basically, it's a postcard. And then over the picture is an outline of Australia, which is, in fact, a lot smaller than Europe, it seems. And over on the left, we have a little koala bear climbing a tree, waving the Australian flag, which I've always loved with those stars and the Union Jack, that beautiful blue and stars. Thank you, Jack. It's a letter here from Lisa Monk. Radio has an intimate feel and a universal appeal, a magical medium of connection among diverse populations with shared memory and individual life stories. I fell in love with radio as a child, listening in the family car or on my transistor. I imagined an actual turntable spinning inside the music box. Lots of luck, she says. My affair with sound continued as a journalism student at the University of Kings in Halifax. And I had a meaningful fling with community radio stations CKDU-FM Halifax and a liaison at Radio McGill Montreal. Settling down from the wanderlust born of an Air Force brat childhood lived in almost every province vagabond style, I am maturing on the East Coast and ripe for creating new radio connecting people, ideas, and communities as your Halifax correspondent. A.K.A. Lisa Loves Radio. Call me. I have a great reel and I know lots of interesting people doing cool things. I am also very practical, and I have an MA from Concordia University. Thank you, merci. Well, you hit it right on the nose, kiddo. Thanks, Lisa. We have no jobs for you, Liz. Got news for you, kid. We have no jobs for anybody. Oh, one last... Okay, thank you, though, for writing. One more of Peter Henry's haikus. This is dated 6/22/2012. Confrontation, period, audiences not appreciating... deadly asphyxiation. Regards from sadly bemused Peter of Sapley. Now, from my friend, our friend, a great friend of this show, Margaretha, in Stockholm. Dear all the highly dedicated staff of the Link, and for that matter, of the whole RCI, just want to say I enjoyed listening to your program. As you so well know, I love them, and your singing, wow. She's talking about Montgomery and me. She's a little prejudiced. Don't forget to sample them to us, highly dedicated listeners. Glad to hear that Mark will still be with us after the doomsday, and I hope you will not be all alone. Margarita Lufkist. But hello, and she continues on. Hello, thanks for the duet. I just love you, boys, but I'll cry for you, RCI. I'll cry for your highly dedicated staff. I'll cry for all your listeners, and I'll cry for myself. I'll cry for the short-sightedness of the government. I'll cry for the non-commitment of the CBC, and I'll cry for beautiful Canada, now soon fading away into the shadows. Soon we must bid farewell, but please receive my eternal gratitude for the knowledge, pleasure, songs, music duets you have relayed through the programs and for the great and personal ambiance you created. All my love to you all. But let's hope that everything is a nightmare, and RCI will stay on the air, and that June 22nd is not the last Link Day, and the 24th the not last day for the mailbag. Here in Sweden, June 22nd is Midsummer Eve. The sun will hardly ever set this night. It's last Friday. And every single woman shall pick 7, some say 9, different flowers and put them under the pillow, and in the dream man will show. She continues, thank you for an hour of sheer pleasure as always, and only once more and never again. Thank you for the marvelous song by Marvin Gaye. So very, very nice. I really hope Mr. Mark is as grateful as I am. I forgot to write that the cold Saturday, remember she wrote last week, the cold Saturday was 6 degrees there. I forgot to write that cold Saturday was the coldest one in Stockholm for 84 years. Take care, Margarita. And then there is one P.S. here. She wants to know how she can download shows. You can't do it. Apparently not. The only thing you can do is on the day of a show, you go to the RCI website, you go to the news, you click on news, go all the way down, scroll all the way down, move over to the right-hand corner, and it says download most recent broadcast. So thank you, Margaretha. We're going to miss you so much, kiddo. So much. Another guy we're going to miss, John Versalino. Sadness is in my heart as the weekend approaches because I know an old friend, RCI, will no longer be with us. John Versalino. From Janice Stewart, Your program is important in so many ways. Its loss is symbolic of the grief I experience perpetually as our cultural connections are pared back. Irreplaceable. With diminishing hope for my Canada, I regularly voice my dismay to the federal representatives. Ah, boy. Thanks, Janice. Another one. From Hulani Ninistro in Helsinki. Your website does not specify when the satellite service for Europe is closing or whether it will be closing. Your website lists schedules until October. Could you please specify when the service is closed, date and hour? It's tomorrow, Ulani. That's it, Juhani. Gonzo. From Harold Kohl in Germany. It's really a shame what happens to RCI. It is fair to say that from the perspective of a very experienced radio listener, RCI and BBC World Service and Radio Australia are playing in the same league of the highest program quality. It's just unbelievable that RCI will no longer be heard. Harold Kohl, Germany. Here's one from West Java, Indonesia. In this time zone, we receive RCI at 0700 local time. Just the right hour to enjoy breakfast with the program on shortwave, whether it be the link or especially on Monday, Maple Leaf Mailbag. Imagine being told one day that from now on, there will be no coffee with breakfast. Well, that's what I might have been told when Terry Haig and the rest of the crew announced the end was imminent. No RCI with breakfast will indeed be a form of sensory deprivation for me, and I am thinking someone should be dragged to the ICC on charges of torture. A bit of hyperbole, but hey, maybe worth a try to keep a good crew in their jobs. That's from Marco. Marco in West Java, Indonesia. Who we got here? This is from Howard. That's all it says. Balin, I think his last name is. I'm not a praying kind of guy, but I pray for RCI's shortwave broadcasts. Now, when counting days toward, this is from Dev Narayan in cyberspace. Now, when counting days toward RCI's end on shortwave, it really makes one sad and nostalgic. Everything nice to give way to change, which brings in new technologies, which just push out things which positively touch the lives of so many silent masses who so much cherished using a technology that they could afford. So many people who listen to RCI on shortwave do not have access to a good internet connection to listen again to RCI. They will all miss out on RCI, maybe for life. So many listeners who will be deprived of RCI's wonderful programs on shortwave shall never be able to listen to them through a new medium which is far beyond their reach. Alas, new technologies come, destroying the sweetness of the old. Alas, new technologies come, destroying the sweetness of the old. Dev Narayan. Here's one from Pete Johnson. Ridiculous, misguided, poor judgment is the most accurate way to describe these cuts. The dictators, jammers, thugs, and oppressive governments have won, and the listeners have lost. No longer will one of the world's most respected news organizations and beacon of Canada be heard in the darkest corners of the world. With shortwave gone and online listening easily blocked, the listener will be left listening to their dictators' diatribes. Over the past several months since its announcement, we have heard that the decision-makers need the cuts. But has anyone proposed ways of producing revenue in lieu of cuts? 10 years ago here in the U.S., PBS and NPR, that's public broadcasting, and National Public Radio, had to resort to limited advertising and fundraising to offset their cuts. Perhaps it's time to think outside of the box and scrap the Constitution and Charter and allow for limited adverts on the radio and website. The BBC already does this on its website, and it helps stem the losses at PBS and NPR. I will dearly miss all of you, and if I owned a radio station, I would offer you all jobs.
It was just one of those things, just one of those crazy flings, one of those bells that now and then ring. Just one of those things. It was just one of those nights, just one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that this love affair was too hot not to cool down.
It's Renee Lee. Just needed a break, folks, because I'm losing it. From Fabio Taghetti. What a waste. Acts a teacher of English. RCI has been the companion to so many students in my classes, and even a strong presence in a book about English learning I published some years ago. I still have many RCI gadgets in my house, and now I regret not having more. How dare you, whoever decided to close your voice to the world. I'll miss RCI so much. Fabio Taghetti. John Durham, New Zealand. Tauranga, New Zealand. I am really disappointed that RCI is being terminated. I have been a regular listener for about 54 years. QSL dated July 7th, 1958 for station CKLO. Over that time, I have learned a great deal about Canada through your programs and been entertained at the same time. It is really a sad day in Canadian broadcasting. My heart goes out to those who are made redundant. I know what it is like, having been down that road a couple of times myself. Looking forward to hearing from you one final time. John Durham, New Zealand. David Stewart, Steinbeck, Manitoba, Canada. It is with sadness that I send this reception report. It is sad to see the impending shutdown of RCI and the loss of Canada's voice to the world. As I have been a shortwave listener since the mid-1970s, I understand the role that shortwave plays in the world. I don't think that folks living in cities with ready access to the internet appreciate what shortwave radio is about. The shutdown of RCI impacts me personally. My son is serving with ISAF NATO in Afghanistan. In preparation for his deployment, I sent him a Grundig G8 to add to his kit, and I included RCI's broadcast schedule. As we have discovered during his deployment, the internet is spotty at best where he is. Shortwave has been a reliable link to Canadian news and information. I have written my MP regarding the future of RCI. I do hope funding is found to support RCI and keep it on the air. David Stewart. Thank you, David. Thank you. This is from my friend A. Regu in India. Vedarianam. It's some bad time for shortwave that so many stations are ending their lives. It is so simple reason because of budget. Though their countries would spend and play on lots of money through unnecessary things behind races, air shows, parties, holding black currencies, radio is the perfect media which does not let any wrong things on the air, like as the other medias do, like movies, magazines, TV, TV news, and some internet things. Their leaders have forgotten that all the media and public awareness on the media just came from radio first. Still, no one can control the radio if we let the signal on the air. It cannot be controlled by the authorities. News magazines can be controlled by the authorities. The internet can be watched by the authorities. And even the phone-to-phone news can be identified. So please, stay wherein and never go off a ragu in India. From Kenneth V. Zichi. It does not say where he's from, but he lives in Michigan, though. I'm pretty sure he's written before. I feel compelled to add my voice, but I won't reiterate all the good comments others have made about the value of shortwave and how the internet neither supplants nor improves upon radio. They've made many good arguments about why the internet does not replace radio, although the people with the purse strings seem to think it does. I will add something I've not heard. A simple analogy. Television didn't replace radio. Neither TV nor radio replaced movies, and all these things did not eliminate the need for print media. The internet may change the economics of all these media, but it doesn't replace them. The sooner people get that, the better, because we're losing media voices daily, not because of the internet, but because the people holding the money don't get it. Quote. Allow me some personal comments about RCI. I've been a loyal RCI listener since I was knee-high to a grasshopper in 1971, and indeed have missed RCI since you cut back severely on your shortwave output to North America. But still occasionally manage to schedule an afternoon so I can listen to your African service. I fondly remember such names as Bob McGregor, Earl Fisher, Ian McFarland, Pip Duke, David Leggett, and Barbara Frum. But alas, those names too are dating me. I still enjoy the CBC North Quebec service because it replaces what I used to get on my medium wave, but which the bean counters have also eliminated from my local radio dial, even though I can drive to Ontario more quickly than I can drive to Ohio, or northern Michigan, for that matter, from where I am. I do find this interesting. I'm within spitting distance of the border, and now that the CBC has moved to FM in Ontario, I can't even get my fix of things Canadian that way. I can still receive CBC TV from across Lake Huron, but only because you didn't end analog TV in northern Ontario. London TV, which used to make it just fine to the thumb area of Michigan, is now invisible since the advent of digital TV. But stations further north are still regular visitors to the analog TV dial, so I can at least watch Rick Mercer and the National from Wingham, Ontario. Sadly, however, for every 30 minutes of that sort of programming, there is 7 to 10 hours of Olympic diving or society dressage competition, or coming up, hours and hours and hours of the Calgary Stampede. Really. The powers that be at the CBC think that this is money better spent than on RCI? Amazing. At any rate, I refuse to end this on a morose note, but I'm afraid cheerful eludes me. I'll have to settle for ironically melancholy. I thought you might enjoy the attached map of the world as envisioned by the typical American. I didn't see it. RCI did a good job of providing everyone a more realistic picture of what Canada was all about, but I guess from now on, we'll just resort to thinking of Canadians as Dudley Do-Right and wonder how you manage to produce oil with all those moose running around crashing into cars. Here's hoping that there will be a last-minute reprieve to the budget cuts, but if not, it's been a great run, and I'll fondly remember many nights listening to the shortwave as I was growing up. I'll try to convince my grandkids that Canada is a fun place, even if I can't get them to listen to Canadian broadcasters telling them why. Best regards from west of the border, Michigan, Kenneth V. Zichi. From Spain. Let me tell you again, this is from Artur Fernandez Lorel. Let me tell you again that I am really sad about the closure of the shortwave programs of RCI. I wish there was something that could be done to change the decision. Receive my best wishes from Catalonia in Spain, and have a nice week. Artur Fernandez Lorella. Here's one from Suma Bhattacharjee in, where is he? He's in India. He's in West Bengal, India. He says, I request you include my letter in the final version of the Maple Leaf Mailbag. With pleasure, Suma. My dear friends at Radio Canada International, with a very heavy heart I am writing this letter to you. I don't have any words to express my sadness. But all I want to say is, I will miss RCI very much. I will turn 23 years old this June 22nd, that's last Friday. I am so sad that I don't feel to celebrate my birthday that day. Closure of RCI is a great shock to me, and still it is hard to believe that my favorite station is closing down. I am listening to the English service of RCI since May of 2006. I was a schoolboy at that time, and I have written to you at least once in every month since then. I will miss Mark Montgomery, Ian Jones, the direct interactions with link producer Levon on Facebook, and especially the great support of Mr. Bill Westerhaver. Oh, you've all become a part of my extended family on the shortwave dials. I remember that as a new DXer, when I reported Sackville for the first time from India, I was highly encouraged by Mr. Westenhaver. There are numerous sweet memories with RCI which I shall treasure forever. I understand that the decision is already taken and it cannot be altered, but I dream that one day RCI will be revived. Suma Bhattacharjee in West Bengal.
Your man, I just wanna be with you again. I don't wanna hear you got to go. I just wanna make love to you. I've been waiting for so long for my baby. Can't you see that now I'm ready?
The great Frank Marino, I'm ready. You know, I thought about going two ways with this show. One, just eliminating the letters and playing some of the great Canadian music we've heard over the years. But then I thought, wait a minute, all you people have something to say. You've taken the time to write these letters. You've taken the time to support us. And basically, it's a continuation of the dynamic and the dialectic between this radio station and you all. So, I mean, something about radio that makes it a family. And so I shall continue with the letters, if you don't mind. Forget the music. You guys, I mean, to use an expression from the 60s, you folks blow my mind. You really blow my mind. What a generous, insightful audience we have. And I don't know why it took so long for a Tory senator, you know, this was last Tuesday he spoke, and then the article appeared on Friday, I think, or Thursday. I'm not sure when it appeared in the Ottawa Citizen. You know, it's as if some guy telepathically, he heard what all you guys are saying, you know. I mean, why can't we have this intelligent... Anyway, okay, in the government, but we don't. So, Richard Lemke, my old pal, out in Alberta. Thanks for everything you've done, dear Terry, Bill, Ian Jones. Your efforts are not forgotten by this Albertan. Signed, Richard Lemke, longtime RCI listener since 1988. Goodbye. my longtime radio voice and friend. I want to say hello to Ron Dixon. I was going to go all Canadian, Ron, so I couldn't play your songs. But I thank you. Anyway, I thank all of you, but I thank Ron Dixon. As I said before, there's only one guy that knows as much about music as he does, and he lives in Ohio. So Ron's the undefeated champion of British Columbia. Dave Bowen, Glenwood, Minnesota. I have been listening to Radio Canada International for some 30 years. It will truly be a sad day when we can no longer receive Radio Canada International as just having an internet site. Radio Canada International. Just having an internet site will not be the same. Thank you for some 30 great years of international broadcasting, and I hope for many more years, if possible. Dave Bowen, up in Minnesota, over in Minnesota, Glenwood. From Spain, Francisco Manuel Pacheco, from Portugal. My name is Francisco Manuel Pacheco, born in Toronto, November 26, 1963, and listener of RCI shortwave radio since 1980. I am very sad and disappointed with the slash cut of funds to keep RCI alive around the world, and that the last broadcast emission will be on June 24th, 2012. I hope that the government steps back from this drastic and sad decision for us Canadians and worldwide dedicated listeners to RCI. RCI makes part of our lives! ! By the way, Suma, happy birthday. Harry H. Norrie, Dublin Shore, Nova Scotia. Your story... No, where is it now? Okay, finally, we may wish to reconsider that there are only... I'm just going to read part of his letter. It's a long letter. Only a few agencies or entities that can truly gain a nation respect worldwide. Nations go to great efforts to protect and promote national postage stamps, national currencies, national embassies, national militaries, national foreign aid, as well as national shortwave stations. But it is only national shortwave stations that can be easily, proudly referred to as a credential anywhere we travel to. So of all our national Canadian mastheads, we can only say we heard this or that fact on Radio Canada International, and instantly we know we have true respectability of Canadian Broadcast Authority. We all know, for example, we can believe it if we say I heard it on BBC, because BBC is the same national and international broadcaster by the same famous name. Perhaps we would do better instead of canceling RCI. Instead, we should upgrade RCI and rename the great CBC and call CBC along with RCI Radio Canada International. Wow. In closing, I am reminded about what one of our great prime ministers said when he was asked, "Isn't having a constitution an old idea?" This was asked to Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. He said, "The wheel is an old idea too, but it still works." We cannot escape the fact that Radio Canada International is not the property of this generation of humanity. Radio Canada International is of eternal import, especially because RCI represents Canada, one of the all too few nations that represents the rights of us all. Radio Canada International is in this way the legitimate inheritance and trousseau of all of us everywhere. Thank you, and I hope the leaders of the CBC don't cancel you and are smart enough to realize they might just get sued if they do. You may broadcast any part of this compliment to your great work as you wish. I am yours truly, Harry H. Norrie, from Dublin Shore, Nova Scotia. Here's a letter from Stephen C. Wood, Harwich, Mass., down in the USA. It's been several years since I've written to you, although I have been a listener over these years. Oh, it just flashed on me. It's Blip Porbini's birthday today. So all the Radio Zeter clubs, we wish you happy birthday, Mr. Porbini. Back to Stephen Wood's letter. It's been several years since I've written to you, although I have been a listener over these years. I'm just not much of a writer. In this sense, I may represent a large number of listeners to RCI programs broadcast over the shortwave bands. However, since you ended your English programs directed to the USA, I have not been a consistent listener. It has been difficult to hear the current broadcast due to the times and frequencies that you are transmitting over. And he goes on about how hard it is to pick it up. Yet, yes, shortwave radio is a dated, unpopular medium. What form it may take over the coming years is unknown. But the bands will still be there even if no one is using them. Perhaps keeping one's options open might be a prudent approach to shortwave radio. You know what? You're just giving me hope here, Mr. Wood. You know, if that hearing is held in Ottawa and the leaders of the heads of the CBC are questioned and made to go back, you're right. But are you sure? I hope you're right. I think other people might just snap them up. I'm not sure. Anyway, everyone is aware of the financial pressure that governments around the world are under. There are many more important priorities for nations to allocate their resources than to shortwave radio. It just makes one think, how did governments finance these broadcasts in the past when their incomes were much lower proportionally than they are today? Something to think about. Anyway, I am sorry that you will be ending your broadcasts, especially in the light of the many Canadian stations leaving the AM bands that were readily heard here in the northeast part of the USA. The Canadian offerings on satellite radio are a little lame, to say the least. I hope the employees of RCI will fare well in the upcoming reorganization. The reorganization is out the door, Stephen. Maybe your government will have more of a conscience than ours has exhibited in the past towards its employees. Best wishes to you all and a prosperous and happy year, Stephen C. Wood. I want to say, you know what? I'm almost running out of time. I've got way more letters. I want to specifically just say hello to everybody that wrote these letters, okay? I want to say hello to Avinash Premjab in Calcutta, India, and thank him for his letter. To Victor C. Okiki, Hamburg, Germany. I wish we had thousands of hours here. Alan R. Ludell, Delaware, the first state. Everybody wrote great letters, by the way. To Jalt Woodstra in the Netherlands. Ira Levine in cyberspace. Neelakandian Visvanathan in India. I'm sorry I can't read it. If we weren't going off the air, I could read them all next week. John Rutledge. He's a friend of Jones's. Marco Bauer in Germany. Brant Hunt, Aiken, South Carolina. Maseo Hosoya, Tokyo. Pamela Whitelaw, in Canada somewhere. Really, you have made a decidedly poor decision in canceling the link, particularly given its strong Canadian content. Shame on you, she writes. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ted Holman wrote a great letter. Yoshihiro Takahashi in Japan. Mr. Ifosa Ulamero, Abuja, Nigeria. And then we have some more Peter Penry stuff. Ron Dixon, Port Alberni, BC. A drawing from Stefan Zografakis, Athens, Greece. And Untara Haiti, Jakarta City, Japan. And finally, a letter I set aside. It's from our friend Otto Schwartz in Calabash, North Carolina. Dear friends at RCI, there is a saying that all good things must come to an end, but I was hoping that it wouldn't be RCI and not so soon. I won't belabor why I think this should not happen. The many comments and thoughts submitted by so many of your faithful listeners have said it all in every possible way, much better than I could have said it. Let me just say that having listened to RCI for nearly 60 years should attest to the fact that RCI is worthwhile and that you are important to me. I feel for you, and I know what you must be going through. When I worked for the federal government for some 30 years, we went through numerous budget cuts, and each one impacted my particular organization. We were asked to submit a plan detailing what projects or programs we could cut or eliminate if we had to undergo a budget cut of 10%, 20%, or even greater. What really hurt was that we were asked to cut or eliminate something that we thought was important, that was deemed necessary by a mission statement established by someone for a very good reason, something we believed in and worked very hard to implement. Then, all of a sudden, out of the blue, someone decided and even had the nerve to ask us to decide what was not important, what was not essential, in other words, what was quote-unquote wasteful. It made us feel that we had squandered taxpayer money all along. Quite often, the reduction or elimination of a program results in many more expenditures down the road. For example, my job in the government was in quality control. When that function was cut or eliminated, very serious problems soon arose which required even more resources to be expanded to fix them and prevent them from happening again. It is usually, and I would say always, cheaper to prevent a problem than to let it happen and then fix it. Granted, some problems and issues are intangible, such as friendship, goodwill, intolerance, mistrust, pride, hate, enmity, arrogance, bullying, and awareness and knowledge, which RCI covers very well. And these are the ones that result in the greatest amount of resource expenditures if not properly addressed. Just think of the lives lost, people injured and displaced, property destroyed by terrorism, conflicts, and wars caused by such intangibles. Sincerely, Otto Schwartz. P.S. I alluded to a mission statement in this letter. It is the raison d'etre for many programs or organizations. All U.S. government organizations have or are supposed to have one, often followed up or combined with a vision. What is the mission statement of RCI? PPS. Terry Haig is doing an awesome job as host of Maple Leaf Mailbag program, which I understand will be the last program aired over RCI when or if it shuts down on June 24th. I guess it's like an ongoing swan song, a very difficult situation to be in. PPPS. My best wishes to Ian Jones for a speedy and complete recovery.
It's no good unless he loves you all the way.
That's right.
Happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you all the way. Taller than the tallest tree is. That's how it's got to be. Deeper.
That's Susie Arioli. I'm Terry Haig, along with Thierry Boutin. We're filling in for Ian Jones. I want to thank you all for your support, your insight, your generosity. It's something I'll never forget the rest of my life. So from Montreal, from all of us here, we send our love and gratitude for what has to be one of the greatest audiences that ever lived. Salut tout le monde. Be well, be well, be well, and love one another.
All the way, all the way.
It's for sure I'm gonna love you.